Alright. Good evening, folks. How you guys doing? Sorry for no post-game video last night. I went out, I got tired, and so I got the sheet ready and done. We're going to do this post-game report for last night. Uh, I just want to say, overall, it was not a bad night, I have to say. It wasn't bad. Could have been better, but we're not perfect. We're not perfect at all. Okay, now remember, folks, if you haven't come across this video and you happen to like it, give me that thumbs up. Duels very important. It helps to keep the channel going. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe icon. Really, folks, helps to keep the channel going. And I want to welcome all my new subscribers, my two new subscribers, 163, 164. I want to say hey to you. The post-game reports, basically, I just give you a recap of all the games, tell you what I think of them, and that's about it. So here we go. Starting off with Minnesota at Boston. Entering the matchup, Minnesota was 31, 18, and 4 and 66 points. Boston was 26, 22, and 6 and 58 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Boston Bruins beat the Minnesota Wild by a score of 3-0. That's right, it's a Pepsi Zero Sugar shutout. Shots on goal, the Bruins 35, the Wild 36. The Bruins had 36 saves with the Wild 32, and Boston went 0 for 3 on the power play with Minnesota 0 for 4 on the power play. After the deadlocked after one period, the Bruins just uh really went on fire last night in the second, and that's why they won. That's why they did it. It was total domination in the second period, starting the second period with the Bruins, and that's why they won. So way to go for the Bruins. Next was the Columbus Blue Jackets at the Buffalo Sabres. Entering the matchup, Columbus was 26, 20, and 7 and 59 points. Buffalo 21, 26, and 5 and 47 points. And at the end of the 60 minutes, the Buffalo Sabres beat the Columbus Blue Jackets by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal were the Sabres 21, the Jackets 29. The Sabres had 27 saves, and the Blue Jackets 18, and both teams were 0 for 1 on the power play. Excuse me, hold on here. Sorry about that, I felt a sneeze coming on. Uh, Total dominance by the Sabres. You know, Columbus scored that one goal in the third, but it was not enough, and that's why Columbus lost. But way to go! They tried their best to come from behind, but they didn't. But I'm not mad at the Blue Jackets, but Buffalo wanted them more, so that's why. Next was Ottawa at Tampa. Entering this matchup, Ottawa was 29, 20, and 4 and 62 points. Tampa 27, 20, and 4 and 58 points. And at the end of 16 minutes, the Ottawa Senators lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 4-3. Shots on goal were the Bolts 38, the Sens 28. The Lightning had 25 saves with the Senators 34. Tampa Bay was 1 for 4 on the power play with Ottawa, 1 for 2 on the power play. After two periods, it was tied 2-2, and then all of a sudden, Tampa did something, and turned on the afterburners, and that's why they won, and they beat the Ottawa Senators flat out. Uh, they were down. They tied it, and then of course they get that game-winning goal. So that's the difference, and I'm proud of the Lightning. So where to go? Next were the Devils at the Pens. Entering the matchup, the Devils went 29, 19, and 6 and 34. 64 points. Pittsburgh 22, 24, and 8 and 52 points. This game had to go to overtime. There was no score, so it had to go into a shootout. The results of that shootout were um, New Jersey went 3 for 7. Pittsburgh went 2 for 7. Winners, the Devils. They win by the score of 3-2. Now, remember, the stats I'm going to give you were after overtime. Shots on goal, the Devils 21, the Pens 27. The Devils had 25 saves, with the Penguins 19, and both teams were 0 for 3 on the power play. And Pittsburgh picked up a point, very important. Um, Pretty much everything flip flopped in the third. The Devils were ahead 2-1 after two, and then the Devils tied it up in the third. They did a very good job, and they went to overtime. But way to go by the Pens. I'm proud that they win. They at least get a point. And I'm mad at them. Next, with the Florida Panthers at the Washington Capitals. Currently, Florida was 32, 19, and 3 and 67 points. Washington 34, 11, and 7 and 75 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Washington Capitals beat the Florida Panthers by a score of 6-3. 6-3. I'm not joking. Shots on goal were the Caps 26, the Panthers 33. The Capitals had 30 saves with the Panthers 20. Washington went 0 for 3 on the power play with Florida 0 for 1 on the power play. After two periods, it was neck and neck, deadlocked. And then all of a sudden, Washington just dominated. I have to tell you, they dominated, and that's why they won. That's why they beat um, Florida. They Florida just couldn't withstand the Capitals, and Washington overtook them. So that's why. And Ovechkin got another goal, so he's getting closer and closer to breaking that record. It's going to happen, folks. I think it's going to happen before the season's out. Just you wait. Next were the Golden Knights at the Islanders. Going into the matchup, Vegas was 31, 16, and 6 and 68 points. The Islanders 24, 21, and 7 and 55 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Vegas Golden Knights lose to a score of 2-1. Yeah. Shots on goal were the Isles 14, the the Golden Knights 34. The Islanders had 33 saves with the Knights 12, and both teams were 0 for 1 on the power play. Everyone says you can't win unless if you don't shoot the puck much, but the Islanders found a way they did, and they they did a great job in net. They got one goal by, Um, it was pretty much domination by the Islanders. But Vegas even played a good game too, even though they only let one goal by. Uh, even though they got that one goal, they fought hard too. I mean, they fought. They played a full 60 minutes. So I'm not disappointed. Um, it was pretty much dominated by the Knights. You could tell by the shots, but not much you can really do. And um, but good going by both teams. Really, it was a good game overall. Next was my Blues against Edmonton. Edmonton was 3-16, I mean 32, 16 and 4 and 68 points. The Blues 24, 25 and 4 and 52 points. At the end of 60 minutes, it was tied. Had to go to overtime, and Edmonton wins by a score 3-2. Shots on goal were the Oilers 32. I mean, 39 shots, 39. The Blues 22. The Oilers had 20 saves with the Blues 36. Edmonton went 1 for 3 on the power play with the Blues 1 for 1 on the power play. Um, it was pretty much, the Blues were doing great going into the third period. And the Blues, Montgomery says something. I don't know what he did, but he said something, and the Blues responded. And that's why they tied it up. And when it went overtime, so basically, Blues couldn't control the Oilers. So, but good going by the Blues. A good effort. I had to admit it was a good effort. Um, just need to do better, guys. The next game is it's another game coming up. You guys can do better, and I have faith in you guys. So, next was the Carolina Hurricanes at the Winnipeg Jets. Entering the matchup, Carolina was 32, 7 and 17 and 4 and 68 points. Winnipeg 37, 14 and 3 and 77 points. And at the end of 16 minutes, the Canes lose to the Jets by a score of 3-0. Another Pepsi Zero Sugar shutout. Shots on goal, the Jets 30, the Canes 29. The Jets had 29 saves with the Hurricanes 27. Winnipeg went 2 for 4 on the power play with Carolina 0 for 2 on the power play. Total domination by the Jets. I mean, they just wail on the Canes, and the Canes couldn't do it. You think they could do it, but they didn't. So not much you can do on that. Next was Calgary at home against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Entering the matchup, Toronto was 31, 19 and 2 and 64 points. Calgary was 26, 19 and 7 and 59 points. At the end of 60 minutes, Calgary loses to the Leafs by a score of 6-3. Yep. Shots on goal were the Leafs 30, the Flames 26. The Maple Leafs had 23 saves with with the Flames 24. Toronto went 2 for 4 on the power play with Calgary 2 for 5 on the power play. Calgary was winning after one period, but something happened, and Toronto in the start of the second period just flat out dominated the Flames, and that's why they won. They basically said, "We're getting the fire extinguishers out," and that's what they did. They extinguished the flames, and the Flames could not recover. So that's why they lost. So, good going by Toronto. Better luck next time, Calgary. You need to do better, though. They need to. Next is the Flyers at the Utah Hockey Club. Entering the matchup, Flyers were 23, 25, and 6 and 52 points. Utah was 21, 22, and 9 and 51 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, this was tied 2-2 and had to go to overtime. And the Utah wins in overtime by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal were Hockey Club 42, the Flyers 20. Hockey Club at 18 saves, with the Flyers 39. And Utah went 0 for 3 on the power play, with Philadelphia 0 for 1 on the power play. And Utah wins the series 2-0. 2-0 was their record in that series. What to say about this one? After two periods, it was 2-1 Philadelphia, and then all of a sudden, Utah scores the third, the tying goal, which was great. And then in overtime, they did they got it, so that's why they won. And I'm very proud that Utah won, because it shows they could do things and surprise people, and that's one thing. That's what they did. So way to go by them. Next was Detroit at Seattle. Entering the matchup, Detroit was 27-21-5 and 59 points. Seattle was 23, 28 and 3, 23, 28 and 3 and 49 points. After 60 minutes, game was tied, went into overtime, no score, so had to go into a shootout. And the results of that shootout were: Detroit went 1 for 2, Seattle went 0 for 3. Detroit wins by a score of 5-4. Now, once again, the stats I give you were after overtime. The Wings had 24 saves, the Kraken 27. The Red Wings had 23 saves, with the Kraken 36. Detroit went 2 for 4 on the power play, with Seattle 0 for 4 on the 0 for 1 on the power play, and Detroit wins the series 2-0. 2-0-0 was their record in that series. It was pretty much deadlocked. Well, both teams fought hard. I mean, literally, after two periods, it was 3-2. Seattle was fighting hard. Seattle gets, scored two. Detroit scores the tying goal. So, what can you do? And somehow, um, Detroit got the win in the shootout. That they did good. They did better in the shootout, so that's why. But good going by Seattle. They picked up a point. This is the third team that picked up a point. Now, I'm proud of my Blues picking up a point last night. So, yeah. Next was the Stars at the Ducks. Entering the matchup, Dallas was 34-17-1 and 69 points. Anaheim 22, 24-6 and 50 points at the end of 60 minutes. The Ducks beat the Stars by a score of 2-1. Shots on goal, the Ducks 28, the Stars 27. Both teams had 26 saves. Anaheim was 0 for 3 on the power play, with Dallas 0 for 1 on the power play. Uh, boy, both teams played a good 60 minutes. I have to admit they did. By looking at the highlights and watching a little bit of the game, they played. I mean, this was a pretty good matchup. Um, I was very surprised how Dallas did, but it wasn't enough, and that's why they lost. So, hate to say. And finally, the Canadians had the Sharks, which was my upset special of the night. And I hate to say this, no one commented on it. Now, if you guys think I'm joking on it, I'm not. This is something legit I'm doing, okay? So comment on the next one I do. And I'll let you know on it when I do the video tomorrow, or later. Or should I say later? I'll let you guys know when that game is, and you guys can comment on it. And hopefully you guys do, because I like to I like to do something nice. Okay. Um. So here we go. Montreal was 24, 33, and 5 and 53 points. San Jose 15, 33, and 6 and 36 points. And at the end, 60 minutes, the Montreal Canadiens beat the San Jose Sharks by a score of 4 to 3. Shots on goal, the Habs 20, the Sharks 30. The Canadiens had 27 saves with the Sharks 16. And both teams were 2 for 4 in the power play. Um, what to say about this game? Um, the Sharks were firing all cylinders, and they tied it up in the third, 3-3. But Montreal wanted it more. That's why they won. But the Sharks played a full 60 minutes, and that surprised me a lot. I was proud of the Sharks playing a full 60-minute game, and that's what they did. So way to go, Sharks! I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work. And um, but Montreal wanted to win more. That's why they won. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much. I'll get this video uploaded and record the next video as this one's uploading. And as always, folks, please stay safe, take care. Remember always watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Until then, peace.